Welcome on in, Dbacks fans. Happy opening day to every single one of you guys. It should be a national holiday because it feels like that. I feel like to every single baseball fan because it's just a day of celebration. I don't know about you guys. I know Gabe, your sleep schedule was a little bit messed up just because of your trip to Japan, but I woke up today just absolutely excited, amped for it. I was at work. It felt like a Friday where I was like, I'm not going to be able to get much done because I'm just thinking about opening day, and it's just always a fun time, whether win or lose, which prefer them to win, but opening day is always a blast, which we'll dive a little bit into, kind of go over our thoughts and everything on that. But if this is your first time here stopping by Dbacks Dispatch, want to welcome you on in, Brandon, or my goodness, sorry, I'm tired. It's 11:15. I'm a little bit ready for bed. Brett, then my boys Gabe and Brandon. We welcome you guys in. Drop the like if you could. Subscribe as well. Get notified whenever we are going live, so you guys can be in the live chat, or even just know. So then, if you wake up in the morning and you're like, "Oh heck yeah, the D-backs special live. Let me go rewatch the YouTube show." We would highly appreciate it. Make sure you guys also go follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky. Posting some bangers over there. Gabe and Josh are always cooking up, whether it's Gabe cooking up some memes or Josh cooking up fire graphics. It is always a good idea to go follow us on over there. Make sure you also join the Discord. It is free. It's in the description, especially now the games are starting all day, pretty much the entire game. It was popping off, so it's a great way to talk about the D-backs in general with other D-backs fans like yourself. And just kind of, build the community because we got a good one going. And then also make sure you guys go over to azsnakepit.com. Check out all the articles. They have multiple articles every single day, constantly going down. It is some of the best written content you'll get that's D-backs related. And again, it's free, just like our Discord. So again, go over to azsnakepit.com. A bunch of great writers. But we'll dive into things. Obviously, we'll have another series or another show probably on Sunday to go over the rest of the show. But with it being opening day and all that, we figured we want to get our toes wet here and jump in on game 1 of 162. Unfortunately, the D-backs did lose this one. They were dropped by the Cubs at a score of 10-6. Zac Gallen went 4 innings with 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 earned runs, 4 Ks on 83 pitches. Only 43 of them were strikes. About a 50% first pitch strike ratio, which is not the best, but nothing to sound the alarm yet. Josh Naylor with the RBI single in his debut as a Diamondback, so that was nice. Gino looks to carry on from his end of the year in 2025 from 2024 into 2025 as he had a solo shot in his first at bat. Nelly, kind of like Gallen, was roughed up a little bit. 5th inning was not the best, which we'll dive into that one a little bit more. Jalen Beeks was solid his debut. Again, nothing, not too many crazy good names out of the bullpen that we were going to see being down for most of the game, but Jalen Beeks looked pretty solid, especially being signed just the other day, inning in 2/3, no hits, no walks, and a strikeout. And then one of the unfortunate parts is the Cubs did score 8 of their 10 runs, all with 2 outs. Absolute pain. So the Cubs just 2 out menaces, just could not put them away, and that was kind of the backbreaker in this game. But before we kind of get into analyzing some of the game and maybe being a little bit critical about certain things, or giving our thoughts on things that maybe we liked or didn't like about the game itself, want to open it up to you guys again. Like I said in the beginning, opening day is always an absolute fun time. To me, it should absolutely be a national holiday. We did have the second highest attendance in franchise history for an opening day. And there was a bunch of new things, like I even talked about in the last show, like there's new food, new scoreboard design, new lights, and while slow as fuck, the roof opening is so fucking back. Just like baseball, it's so back. Even though it did, take like 15 and a half minutes to fully open up. Either way, we still got cool roof opening music. So my question to you guys is, like I said, opening day is always a blast, should be a national holiday. And whether win or lose, preferably win, is always an absolute party down at Chase Field for the entire 5-6 hours that you're going to be down there. So I want you guys to explain your thoughts on opening day, maybe to those that didn't get to make it, or just in general, and what you liked, didn't like about it, and then what stood out to you today at the ballpark.
I guess for me, it's always gonna be like it's a love-hate relationship that I have with the crowds. I love how hyped it is, and obviously like the vibe when there's a big crowd there compared to the games during the week when they were bad, when they had like 11,000 fans in the stands. Personally, it was like it felt weird. It felt like you were watching a spring training game in person, but I also loved it because I could just walk around, get as many concessions as I wanted. So I like that aspect of it, and I hate that aspect of it when it comes to having a whole bunch of people because I didn't get to try any of the food because I got there around 6:20 or so, and by that time it was just super packed inside. Like, there's no way I was gonna be able to eat anything. Like, I wanted to try like what'd you say, Brett? The hot chicken fries or the
Honey chicken fries and filthy mac, delicious.
Filthy Macs, and then I believe Brandon, you got the ice cream nachos or something.
S'mores
The s'mores,
nachos.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
good, man.
so yeah, I had to eat before, unfortunately, because of that. But um, yeah,
Your
so
wallet
like I do
thanks
love,
you.
yeah, yeah. The especially after my
I mean, it
trip,
didn't
I'm
cost me
so
that
broke
much.
right now.
Oh, I bet you are.
I'm like I'm struggling. I'm like waiting for that direct deposit to hit, a couple hours. But yeah, I just I do love the crowds there once the games actually start going and like the chants that actually start and they start organically, which is I really like. Because I hate when they put it on the scoreboard, what to chant and just having, the crowd start chanting MVP for Cattell and stuff like that. Like that's awesome. Like that's what you want to see and that's what you want to hear. Um, but yeah, that aspect is really fun. I'm surprised they didn't do as much this time. I felt like it was kind of a little bit lackluster compared to other years where they have like seems like more entertainment, like they unfurl the big flag and everything. And this time it was just Baxter waving the D-backs flag. And I think that was about it. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. This one it wasn't as exciting as last year since they went to the World Series and they had more awards to give out. This time it was literally just like, the like Christian Walker, I believe, was like the only Gold Glover, and he's not even on this team anymore. So they had no awards to give out. So, um, yeah, but yeah, it's just opening day is always special. I think, especially in league wide. I don't know. I was excited for it. Like I was up since I don't know 1 a.m. or something, just waiting for for something to happen. And then the stupid MLB app wasn't working for about an hour, so I couldn't even watch the games, which is fix that up MLB. And yeah, it was fun. It's still, I think overall it was still a fun game. Just very disappointing, and I think we'll get into later or in a bit like where it all went wrong.
Yes, you do bring up a good point. Definitely wasn't the same festivities as we saw last year. Obviously, coming off the World Series, not as many awards to give out. Even the flag, I didn't even realize that until you brought it up. Usually, we do have the giant American flag kind of brought out, a bunch of people holding it and like waving it on the field. Maybe it was just scheduling issues, maybe it was something like that. Either way, it was still a fun time. I do like the new light show. It seems like it got better last year. I literally got goosebumps. Like I looked at my wife when they started playing that, like the super hype music, and I was like, I'm actually getting goosebumps. Like this is sick.
Yeah,
What days about?
that aspect of it is really cool. Like they kind of just do the. I don't know if you guys seen the Close Encounters with the Third Kind,
I've
the
heard of it.
Spielberg movie. So yeah, that they have like the little light show, and it's kind of that's how it starts off with that sort of music. And so every time I see that, I'm like, ooh, it's Close Encounters.
Yeah, so an absolute fun time. It is a party to be had. But Brandon, same thing to you. Obviously, you just like the rest of us, you got down there. Um, Say I don't know if you had the same issue as Gabe. I got lucky, got in the Advantage member early access, and they were prepared. I know on Monday I talked about them having to wait me having to wait like 15, 20 minutes for the food. Was able to walk up to both concessions to get the hot honey chicken fries and the mac fries, and literally were right there. Didn't have to wait a single minute for it to be made, so that was nice. But what were some of the things today on opening day down at Chase Field that you either liked or didn't like? Um, and then, just maybe what stood out to you today at the ballpark, whether it be, lack of celebration of stuff or just like, new light show, sounds, anything like that. What kind of stood out to you today, sir?
So yeah, like you said, I am a Advantage member. So gates open for that at 4:30. I got there about 4:45. And it was great because there were people waiting outside the gate that couldn't go in because they're not Advantage member. Like they legit looked at my ticket to make sure that I'm a Advantage member. I was like, okay, at least you guys are actually checking and doing things. And I just kind of walked around the first floor. Conquest, just to see like what new stuff there was and like where it was and kind of see where my seat was. Because when I picked my seat this year, I didn't actually go to the stadium because I'm like, I don't need to drive 40 minutes to sit in my seat. Like it's gonna be what it is. So yeah, had fun. Like I said, I got the s'more nachos. So apparently they're supposed to have a blowtorch where they like melt the mushrooms, but they didn't have it. So I'm gonna
Assuming you mean
when I go
marshmallows, because
back.
mushrooms on a s'mores nacho would make me fucking puke.
Sorry, yes, marshmallows is what I meant. Yes. So but no, I thought like the whole environment for the entire pregame was really fun. There has not been as high of an opening day attendance, like we said, 49,070 since 2012. It's been 12 years since this many people showed up, which is, I think it's good for the fan base. And it's kind of like Gabe said, like it's a blessing and a curse. Like it's great to see all these people wanting to come watch, but sometimes when you're like taller like I am, sometimes you don't have a seat empty next to you. So you're like sitting like this and like it's just not as comfortable, but I still like it. Like it's still fun. I want them to release that hype video that they played, like the whole like light show with it and like the lights fading off the players. I'm like, I want to watch that like 6 million more times. Like I got so excited. I'm like, please release that video. So I really hope that they do. But like,
Send a
it
video.
was. So overall, it was pretty fun. Like I go back and forth sometimes. Like when I go to the games, like it's cool to see like it packed like that, but also like I'm kind of like a little bit picky about it. Like I like having my space. Like I like being able because there was I think it was the 6th or 7th inning. There were people like I don't know, like 5-6 rows ahead that were standing up. So then I had to stand up. So and then people behind me were getting mad like they can't see. I'm like, well, I can't see. So what do you want me to do? So, but overall, like opening day is always just something. It's an experience. If you haven't done it, definitely try and do it once in your life for sure.
Yeah, I had a quick gripe now that you mentioned it. The fact that the ushers don't make people wait for breaking the inning. The whole freaking game, I just had people coming and going and coming and going. Like luckily I had the radio broadcast. I have a little radio and I take it with me. And luckily I have that because
Bartman, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, I've always liked listening to before I was Greg Schulte. Now, Chris, they did a great job today, and yeah, I just like having that to listen to because man, there's so many times where I just hear the crowd cheer, but like I'd had people like 3-4 people just pass by me, and I'm like, well, I didn't see what happened, so I'd have to look at the scoreboard and I'd have to actually listen to the radio and see, okay, what happened, why, was it a strike, was it this, was it that, and yeah, it's just I don't know what it is now. Like it's the same thing with movie theaters. Like I feel like such an old man, but I'm like, put your goddamn phones away, shut the hell up. Like I don't know. I think we've just lost etiquette as a society, and that's my old man take of the day. We got to clean that up.
Yeah, no, so you make a good point. They used to have a kind of a thing on the screen where it didn't like go like, hey, baseball etiquette, practice it. Even if they didn't make you wait until the end of the inning, the ushers would usually at least make you like try to hold off until the end of the batter. I know
Yeah, it
that
was like
would have probably
a break in the action. That's what it was.
Yeah, I know that would have probably pissed a couple people off earlier, especially if you have an at bat like Randall Grigic did against Justin Steele, where it was like 13 pitches. I know Justin Steele was a little side tangent. Dude seems to pout for every little thing, whether he throws a ball or whether a guy just like fouls off a couple balls. He's like genuinely pouting on the mound.
You're
Zach
Justin Steele. You are not a Cy Young caliber pitcher.
You're not Verlander. You're not Cole. You're not like even Tyreek Skubal. Like, dog, like relax. I mean, again, I get it.
You're
Like,
not
Zach
Skeens.
Zach does it at times too, where like he'll throw a ball or two and he kind of like, has that body language. But that's a whole, kind of separate side tangent that we could potentially get into. But yeah, I do wish that they would, kind of keep the baseball etiquette still as a thing, and keep people from
So
getting up and down.
I had one guy in the row that I was sitting, like by like the third time that he went up. So he would sit. So when I moved my seat, because oh my god, it still drives me nuts. This guy so he would walk down, but he realized there was a guy at bat, so he would just kind of wait in the aisle until the at bat was over before asking me to stand up. So I'm like, all right, at least you finally realize that it's kind of like that's how it's supposed to. Like, you really should wait to get to your seat, because what if they hit a foul ball and you're worried about not walking into someone and you get hit in the head?
Yeah, so
that's why you're supposed to wait till there's a break in the action.
It's opening day for all of us. Maybe all of us just need we didn't get spring training as fans for a lot of that, because spring training tickets are super fucking expensive. So that was basically our spring training, getting used to it.
This is why I got there early, William, because when I walked, I think I was in there for about 10 minutes at about 5, and that's when it opened to the general public. As soon as that happened, I went through the main concourse there by the team shop, and it was like 200-300 people deep just to get into the team shop. Like it is like it's opening day. Everybody wants to get a Corbin Burns jersey. I will never
have Burns jerseys. So they had T-shirts. I didn't see any Burns jerseys available.
They had the white ones.
Okay, that's fair.
But it was freaking $200. I'm not paying $200 for a jersey. I don't care who it is. I'm not paying $200 for.
Dude, even the custom jersey we got for Slade for when he's born, like it was like $140, and I'm like, good fucking god, it's an infant.
This jersey does suck. Tall people problems really, really do suck.
Yeah, but either way, it was the side, the little side grabs aside, still an absolute fun time at the opening day. It was nice. Like, even though it was a bunch of Cubs fans out of the 49,000, it's just unfortunate timing that they had to be here right after spring training. I know so many Cubs fans probably planned it to where they'd be here the final week of spring and stay for at least the opening day, potentially the entire series. I mean, the Cubs fans, there's so many of them here. It's always been a thing. It's almost as many as the Dodgers, but still a much more enjoyable environment with all the Cubs fans there than a game with the Dodgers, even the Phillies. So I'll still take a series against the Cubs over either of those other two teams with all time.
No fights, no one getting curb stopped outside.
Yeah, like, it's nice where it's like, hey, you know what, my team, the Dbacks do something good, we cheer for the Dbacks. The other team does something good, they cheer for their team. And like, we both, cool, we're here to cheer for our team. We don't need to try to rub it in each other's face and be assholes about it. So it's definitely nice. And then, yeah, William, as he's saying, Justin Steele thinks he's Patrick Mahomes, pretty much, with how he was kind of reacting to some of those calls on the mound. But getting into the actual game, obviously, the Dbacks, like I said in the beginning, did not play the best, or at least the pitching was a little bit rusty, and it just wasn't great in general, as there was some spoiled milk and Nelly was not so nasty. Gallen was not sharp in his potential final opening day start as a Snake. As I said earlier, 4s all across the board, the 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 walks, 4 runs, and 4 strikeouts. His second inning
made me laugh. I was like, it's a 4-day.
Yeah, so his second inning was really rough. Literally, the D-backs got that run, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to go get a refill on my pink lemonade really quick, and I'll be right back. And then immediately got in line, and I was like, okay, there was a walk, another walk, and then a double, and it's like, okay, or I think it was he got a few outs there, but it was still like, dude, like, you literally could not find the zone. He's already up to like 47 pitches after 2 innings, so not efficient in the slightest at all, which is, like I even said in the beginning, nearly a 50-50 split when it came to balls and strikes in his 83 pitches thrown, and just could not get any swing and miss. I don't know if it was Gabe or Josh or you, Brandon, that brought up in our group chat that was saying that the lack of swing and miss was a little bit concerning from Gallen, and I do agree.
It was Gabe.
Okay, so again, I do fully agree. Wasn't the the ideal outcome from Zach, again, especially in his potential final day as a Diamondback, but Brian Nelson also didn't help his case either. He was handed just I think it was a 4-2 ball game or 4-3 game when he came onto the mound. And And the D-backs just generally, like, I was making jokes in our group chat, like, dude, I would suck down a Sedona Red dog right now for just one shutdown inning, and the D-backs just could not do it. Whenever they score, they immediately let the Cubs score. Ryan Nelson, like I said, was not sharp out of the pen. He gave it 5 hits on 4 runs on 5 hits with 1 walk and 3 strikeouts in his inning and 2/3. Definitely wasn't helped by a really tough play from Jake McCarthy that I believe that Alec Thomas would have made. So I get why it's not an error, but I think that a better center fielder like Alec would have made that diving play or just gotten a better route to where they don't have to make as crazy of a dive. But Jake could not quite squeeze it in. And we'll get into a little bit more on why that situation was even happening in general with the bases loaded and why all 3 scored. But like I said, rough outing for Gallen and Nelson, where they both gave up a combined 7 runs, I believe it was. No, sorry, 8 runs. 8 runs combined between the 2 of them. So definitely not what we want to see. But again, it's only game 1 of 162, so nothing to worry about. My question to you, gentlemen, everyone else is listening along at home, always down to hear you guys' thoughts, was what was more disappointing? Zac's continued struggles with his fastball location, which I believe we have a graphic, and even Jesse Friedman, former writer over for PHNX, now freelance writer. Jesse, great content as always. I don't know if you're listening, but still. He even brought it up on Twitter where Zac just continued to struggle locating the fastball like he did in 2024, still doing it in 2025. So was that more disappointing, or was it Ryan Nelson's seeming chase field struggles? I know last year we mentioned it a bunch. It seemed like the second half he kind of put that behind him and was dealing. But even in 2023, he had an 8.25 ERA in 13 games at home. In 2024, he still had a 4.52 ERA at home. So it definitely seems like he still struggles at home. So again, which one is more disappointing, Zac with the fastball struggle or the fastball command issues, or Ryan Nelson just seeming to be, kind of teed up a little bit at home?
So for me, like, I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. I'm more worried, and I put it in our group chat. At least up until that point, I believe Gallen had only had maybe 1 swing and miss. He had already thrown like almost 50 pitches at that point, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of an issue that the Cubs aren't swinging swinging and missing at anything he's throwing at them. And I mean, I don't think he was tipping. I literally just think he was just not hitting the spots at all. So the Cubs knew that they could just take their time, get their pitch that they wanted, and not swing at those curveballs because if he's missing wildly and throwing balls way up in the zone, they know when a curveball is coming and when a fastball is coming just because they're going to look totally different when they're that bad. And he did adjust. In the 3rd inning, he adjusted very well, and then in the 4th, he seemed to have been maybe overthrowing. And I think I said it before we actually started, but I think one of the main thing is with Gallen is that he gets like too strikeout happy. He starts to try to strike out guys rather than be like do what Justin Steele did. Justin Steele, he realized right away D-backs were swinging at the first pitch, first, second pitch. So he started pitching to contact. And Gallen just kind of goes the opposite way because, when he has an error like Gino, easy 1, 2, 3 inning, 9 pitches. And then Gino just lobs it and just does a terrible throw. And then they get a stolen base. So I think that could get into Gallen's head a little bit. And I know, people have to be veterans about it and blah, blah, blah. But when as a pitcher and you see simple errors happening, you're kind of like, well, I'd rather just strike out a guy because he had a pitch at that point. It was 8 extra pitches, 7, 8 extra pitches that he had to throw, and he probably felt to that point, okay, well then the next inning I'm just going to try to strike out some guys, maybe maybe not elevate this this pitch count so much. And then he came out and he was, I think, overthrowing. A lot of the fastballs are coming in around 94. And then that's when he gets trouble, just could not locate. Then by the 3rd inning, he started throwing 91. And Brady, you mentioned it, like, oh, that, maybe worried about the velocity a little bit. But the main thing for me is his curveball. If his curveball dips below 80, I think that's when we have an issue. But his fastball, I think he was just trying to locate it at that point. And he was starting to paint the corners and stuff. Again, he started to get more swing and miss on the fastball and the curveball because of that, because he just was able to play it a lot better. Throw fastball down and just throw him a curveball, and he was able to get more swing and misses. And I believe he got like the 4 strikeouts at that point. And so, yeah, I wasn't worried about it. And with really quickly about Ryan, I don't blame Ryan. I blame Perdomo and Jake for his outing.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that topic in just a second, obviously, because even like I said, definitely was not helped by a defensive decision. Again, we'll touch on a little bit more of that one. That's going to be one of our final topics. So I feel like we'll definitely spend a little more time on that because we definitely have some thoughts. But Brandon, same thing to you. Are you pretty much on the same side as Gabe here, as being a little bit more disappointed in Zach's fastball location and just seeming to just not be able to find the zone in general? Seeming even like what Gabe was saying, like overthrowing and being too strikeout happy, or were you a little bit sad and a little bit more concerned with Ryan Nelson kind of getting touched up a little bit more once again to Chase Field?
So, not saying I'm disappointed, because if we look back at his opening day starts the last few times, like, they haven't been stellar outings. So it's not like it's a surprise, but definitely, like, you're in your contract. You want to get paid, you need to pitch so much better. You cannot pitch how you did last year, unless you're fine making a lot less, which I'm okay with that. If you want to get paid way less, that way it saves us money, that's fine. 83 pitches. Only 35 of them were in the strike zone. So that means 48 were out of them. He had 5 whiffs, which that's your supposed ace. Like, that's not how you want the season to start. So definitely, sorry, I misread it. It's 26 whiffs. That sounds better. 5 whiffs on 80 pitches would be really bad. So it's 26, which is still pretty bad, though.
Was it whiffs or just them swinging?
Sorry, swinging. But then, like,
either way, still they were laying off a lot.
So like it wasn't a great outing. Obviously, he didn't even get to the 5th. God, that freaking second inning, he threw 11 straight pitches out of the strike zone. 11 straight? I don't care when in the season that is. The first week, All-Star, like right before the All-Star break, September. You cannot do that if you are the ace of your staff. You cannot go 11 straight. So definitely not good. Ryan, like, he looked good, but but he also didn't. Like, he definitely looked like he was kind of all over the place. He threw, I think, like 50 pitches, I think. 19? Yeah. 19 were in the zone. 31. He was basically just fastball cutter. Just fastball cutter.
Got up to 98 on the fastball, though, which is nice.
Yeah. He had, I think, 2 strike. Well, I know he had 1 strikeout for sure that he got at the top of the zone with the guy swinging, so it was pretty good. But yeah, like, it sucks because all this stuff in the 5th inning, those runs are earned runs to him because the Perdomo play is considered a fielder's choice, which is still an earned run. I disagree with, because Jerry makes the right play there, because I think there were 2 outs at that point. So the inning is over. Like, the rest of the game could have been completely different without those 3 runs. Completely different. Like, we could be talking about a win right now.
I wish we were. Yeah, and William brings up a funny comment in our live that I wanted to highlight. This one got a chuckle out of me. 11 straight balls is only 1 off of Rick Vaughn's opening day record. And you definitely, like, hey, you can be Wild Thing, but you don't want to be early in the season Wild Thing. You want to be, Rick Vaughn from the end of the movie when he's going up there and, pumping heaters by guys and being confident. But definitely not the best outing again from Zac Gallen in his potential final opening day start in his contract year. Do not want to see any more of outings like this from him. Again, even like Brandon said, not the best track record in opening day. Seems like he does struggle a little bit. But even as Gabe said when he was making his points, and even as you brought up yourself, It wasn't fully on Ryan. Like obviously Gallen being a little more disappointing just because of him being our ace, but Ryan definitely doesn't, I feel like, get or deserve really as much blame because he would have gotten out of that fifth inning without any damage done because there were runners on first and second with 2 outs, and I believe it was Matt Shaw, the hitter, which he's not like slowpoke. He's not looking out there like David Ortiz or Adam Dunn speed running out of the box, but definitely not PCA because PCA was on first base and PCA flies. He's potentially as fast, if not faster, than Corbin Carroll. Like he's insanely speedy. And it wasn't like it was an absolute rocket hit to Perdomo. It was like a 2 or 3 hopper. And Perdomo did decide to go to second base instead of trying to get the out at first, which even I was a little bit questioning. I'm like, I feel like, I mean, you got a really good arm, Domo. I feel like if you even charge it or whatnot, you probably would have had a better shot. And I wouldn't have been as upset with you going to first because, hey, you know what? If the guy beats it out, then that's baseball. But making the mental error, which even Brandon was saying, Tori brought up in the post-game comments saying that Domo did immediately go up to him after the fifth inning when he made that fielder's choice decision that led to the 3-run scoring. And you basically being like, hey, that's on me. Like that's, just Domo doing Domo things, Domo being the captain, taking accountability, which is nice. But, it is unfortunate because even like Brandon said, that could have led to potentially us here talking about an opening day win instead of us talking about some depression defense because that defense was not great. Obviously, with Domo doing that, it made the bases loaded, extended into another at bat. Miguel Amaya came up, hit an absolute rocket that Jake did make a diving attempt on, and it just popped in and out of his glove. So get why they didn't label it as an error. But I think we even, put a few memes out of Twitter, and we're even saying in our Discord, if that's Alek Thomas out there, Alek Thomas probably has a better jump on the ball to where he doesn't need to dive. Alek Thomas would, in my opinion, again, you could do what ifs, ands, buts, what ifs, and all that shit like all day. I do, and I'll stand by. I do think Alek Thomas fully makes that play. Whether it's a better route or just, actually snags the ball. It just wasn't pretty because, again, with 2 outs, the hitters were running. They cleared the bases on that, and it made the game go from a 4-3 ball game to, it was 4-3 to 7-3. So it was definitely, again, didn't put it fully out of reach. The Dbacks still had a good offense. They were fighting. They were, trying to claw back in, but it definitely took a little bit of the air out of the stadium. And even as Gabe brought up in the beginning, wasn't even neither of those were technically errors, as Gino did have an error in the first inning. So my question to you, gentlemen, everybody else obviously listening at home, is including Gino's error in the first and along with the fifth inning shenanigans that seem to be going on in the field. Is this rough defense that seems to have somewhat carried over from the end of 2024 something to watch and be potentially concerned about? Or is this just, opening day jitters and just, kind of the happenings of baseball where sometimes you're going to have some mental mistakes here and there. Sometimes you're going to have, maybe an unfortunate ball pop out of your glove because, again, that's just baseball. So I'm curious your gentlemen's thoughts.
So I think maybe for Perdomo, I would see this as a jitters, but Gino, we know what Gino is. He's not a great defender. He is an average to slightly below average. Go look at his numbers throughout his career. He is, like, again, either average or below average, depending on the year. And that's kind of what he does. He does make these kind of weird sailing throws. But with Jake, we saw who he was last year in center field. We saw a guy who can make the easy plays, but cannot make the harder plays. You know who can make the harder plays? Alek Thomas. And I posted that meme about, Alek Thomas, his, my reaction to this. And it's just like, Alek looking all angry or whatever. But and a lot of the comments in there were like, oh, well, Alek can't hit. Well, Jay can't either. Last year in September, he had like a 700 OPS during that month, and we can't act like
nope,
this
way lower. It was like 550 to 500.
Worse.
It was really bad.
Yeah, I think I'm probably thinking of the second half rather than the last month. But yeah, that last month was very rough. 500 OPS, and that's Alek level. I mean, Alek at least gets to the 700s most of the time, but I think that's kind of one of the issues that I have with Jake getting so much playtime is that we can't just act like Jake is Corbin Carroll. Jake has been up and down his entire career for a reason. That's just because he struggles offensively from time to time, and then he goes up, he goes down, he fixes the swing, and then he bats 280, and then another stretch goes by, he bats 150. I'm like, that's just kind of how Jake is. He's really hot. He's really hot and he's really cold, but he's not a center fielder. He's not the center fielder this team needs, and that's Alec Thomas. Alec Thomas is the best defender this team has, and probably could be one of the best, the best defenders this team has ever had, if he's given opportunities. And I think today we saw that. We saw that again last year. And I urge fans, everybody who's saying, like, oh, well, Alec this, Alec that, go watch that Giant series, that homestand against that here.
Or don't
Nightmare.
if you don't want to. If you care about your mental health, just don't do it.
Yeah, but I'm saying it for the people who say they rather have Jake out there, because no, you want a guy who's going to be able to track down these balls. Because again, okay, sure, Brian could have gotten out of the inning, but then Perdomo makes that boneheaded play, loses focus. Again, jitters. Okay, fine, whatever. And then Jake just bobbles it. If it was just like this full extension, gets the tip of the glove on it, just is not able to make the play, you're like, damn, I almost had it. But he looked like Aaron Judge out there. He like got to the spot and then extended the glove, then brought it back a little bit, and just popped out of his glove. I'm like, that's. I mean, sure, it's a hard enough play, but I don't
PCA
think
in one game at Chase Field had better reads on every single fly ball than Jake has had in his center field career as Diamondback.
510 OPS in September.
510.
That's atrocious.
510, and people are telling me that he deserves playing time over Alec. And look at today, he was what, 0-4? I know technically 0-3 because sac fly and blah blah blah, but when you cost the team 3 runs, you're still in negative. And again, I know they don't do positive run differentials or whatever like they do in the NBA, but I do think this is one situation where he cost the team 3 runs, and he got a fly out. I'm like, who else can hit fly out? Alec. Even if he grounded into the second baseman, that run still scores anyway. So
who knows? Maybe with Alex pop, that ball gets out of the stadium. Alex does have a little bit more power.
Obviously, he does hit the ball a lot harder. It just depends on where he hits it. And tomorrow, I want Alec out there. I don't care who's pitching. I don't righty lefty matchup. Doesn't matter. Alec needs to be out there, especially when the stadium is open. The wind just blows differently, and I trust Alec to be able to judge that a lot better, because he trained in Chicago, where the wind blows like crazy. He knows how to read these balls, and Jake just doesn't know how to do that. And so, I don't know. I don't want to see Jake in center field as much as they've been using him. I'd rather have him platoon DH with Grichuk than Pavin.
Yes, we can save our Pavin hate, because he did at least have a nice couple ABs, and I still don't think he fully went on his last at bat. When he was called for the check swing, it did look like he held up, but still would have been 2 walks. Which, hey, I don't want my DH to walk. I want my DH to actually fucking hit. That's in their title. But Brandon, before we get into your thoughts, we did actually have a clip from Tori again talking about Perdomo coming up and talking to him that our lovely producer Josh loaded in. So let's hear what Tori had to say, obviously, about the some of the fifth inning blunders and the fifth inning decision making.
I think the theme of the night was that we made too many mistakes, and they turned into stressors. Too many stressors on this team at one time. It's a lot to overcome, and I can basically tell you what some of them are. They're very obvious to you guys, the plays that weren't made defensively, but inside of the game, the way that we look at it, there were a few others that we got to really tighten up. They're identifiable things. They're things that we talk about often, that we practice often, that we compare and contrast. When it's done right, it saves innings and saves pitches. When it's done wrong, it makes innings linger, and you can potentially give up big crooked numbers. Throw in the fact that I don't think Zac really got into a rhythm. It was an uncustomary outing for him. We ended up walking 6 or 7 batters day, gave up 12 hits. It's 18 base runners. That's just there's a lot of things that we got to tighten up, and we will. At the end of the day, it's our job as coaches to identify these things, talk about these things, and it will not be the first time they've heard. But we're we're going to talk about and coach tomorrow when we wake up or when we get to the ballpark. But it was a great opening night. The fans were here. There was a ton of energy. You just wish you can go out there and play a little bit better game, play Diamondback baseball, and we will. We're going to get there.
Yes, and Tori kind of had the same thoughts as all of us. Just too many too many mistakes in general, whether it was pitching location or just decisions in the field. It was not Diamondback baseball, as Tori said, but hopefully they do clean it up and get there. But Brandon, kind of same thoughts to you, or same question to you and everything, including Gino errors in the first. Was this just rough defense, something that does kind of seem to have carried over from the end of 2024, whether it's Jake or just it seemed like the team in itself was making some of these mental mistakes constantly. Is this something to watch out for and potentially be concerned as we again start this marathon of a baseball season? As again, this is just game 1 of 162, nothing to fully overreact about, or was this just genuinely opening day jitters and guys still maybe getting too in their own head about it? I'm curious your thoughts about it.
I'm not saying it's an overreaction. I think it's something that we need to be mindful of, though. Like, as we're watching, is this something that we're gonna see once a series? Like, we're gonna have one game, or we're gonna have a series of innings where this team just doesn't play good defense whatsoever. After watching that little press conference with Tori, they showed that clip of the J catch. It looks like he wasn't sure where the ball was when he was diving. He was kind of just reaching out and stabbing at it. So that kind of it's just another thing. It just seemed like he wasn't quite sure on what to do on that play. Now, it wasn't in this clip, but Tori did talk about the fact that they allowed PCA to get a really big secondary lead, which how close that play was with Jerry, if they don't let him get a really big secondary lead, he probably doesn't beat out that play. But they didn't really keep him close to the bag, or Gabby didn't do a back pick on the play. That was one, everyone knows how fast Pete Crow Armstrong is. He is Corbin Carroll fast. So you should know he's on the bases. You need to be mindful of that. Whether that's Zach throw over there, or Gabby do a back pick after catching the ball, or it's just I'm not saying that I'm worried. It could also be opening day jitters, but it was something that kind of hurt this team in the last 6 weeks of the season last year. So I'm hoping it's not too much of a big deal. And kind of like Gabe said, Gino, regardless of what Steve Berthium says on the broadcast, Gino is a below average third baseman. He is not a good third baseman. Steve Berthium last year would do it all the time, saying how good Gino's defense has been. I'm well, it was near the bottom. Where else is he supposed to go? Of course he's going to improve. Come on,
That's not even a play that even if we had Christian Walker, the best defensive first baseman in the league, he's not going to get up the ladder and make that play either. No. Nathan's not terrible. Again, he's not Christian Walker. Nobody's going to be defensively, but that was just genuinely a terrible throw.
So
yeah,
this whole game was.
Yeah, I will say, I do think the Cubs have a slight unfair advantage in that they've played already. They've had 2 games to ramp up and change their mindsets and to fix whatever, little, I don't know, jitters that they had. The Dbacks haven't. This is the Dbacks' first game. The Cubs have already played 2 games, and they're playing a lot more desperate than the Dbacks are as well. They've lost 2 games in a row. If they lose today, that's 3. They would be 0-3 to start the season, which is really, really bad. And of course, you're going to be playing more desperate, a lot more, risky too, with the steals that they're doing, with the leads. They came out ready to hit, and it seems like the D-backs were, I don't know, maybe not as mentally prepared to go as the Cubs are. And again, the Cubs already played. They, the way averages work is eventually they start to work out in your favor. And for the Cubs, they were terrible against the Dodgers, but having them play, if you're naturally a 300 hitter for your career, if they play in against the Dodgers and they go 0 for 7, well, guess what? They'll probably get 3 hits, right after that or something. And so it does end up being like, a 300 average. It's just the way it works. And I think tomorrow would probably be better. I think they're probably going to be a lot more in sync, and hopefully they win because we can't tie a series and we can't go down in the series against the Cubs. They are looking to be a wild card contender, and so they're D-backs. So this team can't split series with the Cubs at this point in the season. They have to take 3, and I'm not gonna mince words here yet. They have to take the next 3, no matter what. Because if you put them down by 3, then they're facing off the Padres, I think, next as well. Padres take 2, then you can bury the Cubs early off in the season. So then you're able to give yourself more breathing room as the actual wild card race heats up.
I really wish we had our $200 million starting pitcher going tomorrow to kind of help us bounce back from a loss. But because
Merrill will do.
I know.
Merrill
I'm
will
I'm beating the dead horse, as we talked about a bunch last show.
It's 'cause we
The whole
lost.
say if we would have won, it would have been like, oh, who cares? Throw anybody in the the 5th hole or whatever. We'll beat them all. But it's again, hindsight's 2020. I'm mostly just making jokes again. Either way, Burns and Gallen are still going to line up with each other, so it doesn't matter too much in the long run. But who knows? Even Jeff in our Discord was making a good point that, hey, even like Gabe was saying, like, we're just because it's the Cubs and they got to worry about their own division, and we're expecting the D-backs in the West to be solid, we still got to take care of as many NL opponents in general as we can with the 3rd wild card. Like, we don't want to deal with any tiebreakers, like we saw with fucking last year. And bullshit like that. Like, we want to have our own destiny in our own hands and not have to worry about relying on other teams beating a team that we need to lose to make it into the playoffs or anything like that. But again, just game 1 of 162. We have 3 more this weekend. We do have Merrill going tomorrow against Jamison Tyone. Then Saturday, we got a Shota versus Brandon Pfaadt, the rosy-cheeked godfather himself. Then Sunday for a little matinee matchup, or a little, it's going to be so nice to have Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon baseball back. My God, I love it. And not like spring training Sunday afternoon. Like, it's just those, like 1 o'clock starts are just some of my favorite just to get down and watch. But that one is going to be Matthew Boyd versus Eduardo Rodriguez. So again, there is still 3 more games for the D-backs to, like Gabe said, win the series, bounce back. Even he made a great point of the Cubs already got their opening day jitters. They already, got to play the Avengers over in Japan and fucking lose to them. So they already got that kind of out of their system. Seemed like they were ready and hungry to come into this game tonight, and they got a good squad. PCA, I feel like, is going to be a big difference maker, and probably is going to be a pain in the ass on the bases and just in general. But again, 3 more games that we're going to get. We got Merrill, Pfaadt, and Erod going up against. Any maybe thoughts or anything going on into this first weekend of D-backs baseball in 2025?
Just win the series. Don't split it, because you have 3 more against the Cubs after this as well. And I think this team would be better off, being either 4-3 or 5-2 against the Cubs, and they can really position themselves to be competing with the Dodgers, because Dodgers are 3-0. D-backs are 0-1. They're 2 games, I think, or whatever. It's the way the math works. It's literally the first day, and they're already a couple games behind the Dodgers. And if they're going to want to compete with the Dodgers, they got to take care of business, especially at home. You can't, get embarrassed at home over and over again. And I think got to clear up these mental mistakes. Also, really quickly, I had an issue with the fact that Torrey just left in Bryce Jarvis in the game. Like, he clearly didn't have it after a while, and you just left him in there. The man hasn't thrown a single major league pitch in 8 months. Why was he still in there for that second outing? We had Shelby Miller ready to go. I think Shelby Miller, that would be the perfect time. It's technically a non-high leverage situation. 3 runs, this team with this offense, they could have mounted a comeback, but instead, they got a couple more runs across, and suddenly it was 5. They're down by 5 rather than 3 coming to the last couple of innings. And um, I mentioned this a lot last year about Torrey just sort of pivoting and punting away games, and I felt that way today as well. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree, and that's fine. This is the way I feel about it, and I felt that we had better options rather than a guy who hasn't thrown in 8 months.
Yeah, so maybe it's something where he's just trying to save, like maybe if he wanted a better matchup, especially using Ryan as the long relief guy out of the bullpen tonight and letting him go 3 innings. Maybe he wanted to save some of the other guys like Miller, obviously. Beeks got a little bit of an extra inning, so I feel like he just tried to stretch out. But I do agree. In a slight aspect, it did seem like a little bit of a maybe not punting, but he's like, all right, hey, you know what? You're gonna go in. You're either gonna keep this game close and give our offense a chance, or you're going to be you're going to let it blow open and we're just going to have to accept it. It's game 1 of 162. Maybe he's just looking in the long run. But, definitely something to monitor throughout the season. Be able to get like a little punt counter going on and, see how many games we're going to have like that. But Brandon kind of saying
it's just going to piss us off because it's going to be a lot.
It'll piss off people online and they'll think that even like Gabe posted that thank you fans graphic, and I know there's going to be people that are like, oh my god, it's only game 1, and we're like, yes, we know, it's okay to have a little bit of humor in some of the jokes and lighten up a little bit. It doesn't need to be, we don't need to fully defend every single player for every little thing and think that they're striking out on purpose and all that. Nugget, I love you, I'm just giving you shit. And shit like that, but we're just having a little bit of fun. Again, game 1 of 162. We gotta, it's a roller coaster of a season. It's gonna be a marathon. We gotta, enjoy it when we can, and self-deprecating humor, and trying to make a few jokes and make some light out of it. It makes taking some L's a little bit easier to swallow. But Brandon, same thing to you. Any kind of thoughts or anything you have to say going into this first weekend of Dbacks baseball in 2025?
I do want to bring up real quick. We had a bunch of people like halfway through the game and after the game commenting on the post that we made this morning about how we're back and the season is starting. I'm like, y'all, that was posted this morning. So please do not comment being all mad saying, oh, no, we're not back. We lost. Well, when that was posted 12 hours ago. Yeah. So it's just stuff like that. Like just comments like that. But yeah, just do I want a series win? Absolutely. I'm trying to not I do have high expectations for this season because I feel like this team is very talented. If we can get everything clicking, offense looked good today, even though we lost. We still scored 6 runs. We just had 18 total players reach base by the Cubs, 12 hits and 6 walks. You're not going to win those games. You're just not. I think one of my favorite moments from today, though, is when Pete Crow Armstrong stole second base. Cattell does that thing he does where he covers second and then he runs around real quick. Pete Crow Armstrong started to run. Cattell almost deked him out. And I was like, if Cattell, he's going to get someone on that. He is going to get someone on that. And they're just stupid because I'm like, he does it once a week, y'all. How are you falling for that? It's just it just makes me laugh. But I think pitching matchup, the only one that I won't immediately give to us is Saturday, only because Shota, if Paul Skeens doesn't have the year he has last year, Shota's the best rookie pitcher from last year. He pitched phenomenal last year.
I still will always say that I don't care. And most players coming over from Japan, Roki is the only one I could say is a rookie because of how young he is. So many of those guys, it's okay, rookie with very heavy asterisks because rookie, they're pretty much veterans at this point.
Yeah. So, but no, I think the thing I want to see from these next like these three is don't let things snowball. Like, do not let this be a thing, especially with defense. Like, I don't want to see, like, once a game, there's just that play that just doesn't, like, just, we're like, what are we doing here? Like, this is the team's identity is they play good defense. They're very good at run prevention. And if that starts to not be a thing, it's definitely gonna worry me some. And I'm with Gabe. If Alec is not starting tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, Tori, what are you doing? Like, I know the fan base thinks Alec can't hit, but I like Jake, and like we said, Jake can't either. Like, Jake had an opportunity to redeem himself later in the game. Bases loaded, 1 out. He got the sack fly, but he could have gotten a single, could have gotten a double. Like, he could have really brought us back in the game. He only did it partially. So, but yeah, let's just hope next time that we're on here on Sunday, we're talking about at least a series win. If we split, it's okay, but
We'll get to talk about 2 wins at least.
Yeah. Like, it won't be like, oh my, we're completely behind the 8 ball. It's more of like we're kind of to the side of it, like, because like Gabe said, we play them 3 more times, so it's the best out of 7. So if we win 2, it just means we got to win or sweep next time we play them, which is a little bit difficult. So just at minimum split, win the next 3, and we'll be good.
Yes, I definitely going to be. Hopefully, the team's going to be as hungry for these wins as we are as fans, just to kind of get us that first W. Even like Gabe said, the Cubs already had it. They struggled. They were ready for it. Hopefully, the Dbacks do the same thing. But again, appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in. I know it's a little bit of a late night one, but I figured we want to celebrate opening day with you guys, get all of our final thoughts or our thoughts and everything while they were still fresh. So again, while it does suck, it wasn't a win. It was still an absolute blast at the ballpark. It was a blast having each and every one of you guys here in the chat with us. Again, just a reminder, make sure you guys do, if you aren't already subscribed to us on YouTube, hit that bell. I believe we're about 350. We're approaching 400, which is crazy. So again, appreciate each and every one of you guys for doing that. Like, comment, subscribe. It really does help out the algorithm, pushes us, especially with baseball season starting. There's a lot of baseball content going on, so it kind of helps push us out a little bit more into the public. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky. Make sure you join the Discord. It's free. It's always popping, especially on game days. We got a game day discussion. We got prospect. We got, if you have like any animals, if you would like to post any of your fur babies, we got a channel for that. There should be a channel for every single thing that you might have an interest in. So click the description below, join the Discord, and then finally check out everything over on azsnakebit.com. We do have a little bit of kind of written content and written form for our episode recaps. So if you guys are looking for a little bit of extra Dbacks dispatch on the side, that is where you can find it, along with a bunch of other amazing content. But again, we have been your trio. I guess I could say your four of it, the quad. We've been your quad, as we do have our man Josh on the 1s and 2s behind the screen that you guys see and everything. So yeah, quartet. Thank you very much. It's 12 in the morning, so I'm tired, so my brain wasn't working. But we have been your quartet of Brandon, Gabe, myself, Brett, and then our man Josh on the 1s and 2s. We appreciate each and every single one of you guys for tuning in here for another episode of Dbacks Dispatch, and we'll see you on Sunday to hopefully discuss a series win or at minimum a series split. Take it easy.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Desert heat, but we own this town. Brandon, Brett, and Gabe on the call, with Josh in the back, bringing it all. Fastballs from the bats ignite. 9 innings deep, we fight all night. Wins and losses, highs and lows, we break it down. Yeah, that's how it goes. Dbacks Dispatch, turn it